All right, Ian, we have a Patreon poll.
We do have a Patreon poll. You go to patreon.com/CU podcast. You go, there's writings, there's full video podcasts,
Full.
hangouts. I have to do a hangout soon. And you also get to vote on these poll topics.
Gotta do writing soon.
Poll topics.
In second place, I like these splits. Arcade games you could not beat as a child that others could, 44%. First place, this comes from a Twitter suggestion. Would experience with retro gaming influence your children's screen time, I guess, or potential screen time? That's a good question because it's saying that you grew up with games, you gamed a lot. How that affect how you raised your children? Because on our generation, our parents did not play video games or played very little. I mean, they played Pong, like when they were kids. Like they were in a different spot where they saw video games as a new influence that they potentially saw the dangers of and harms of because maybe it was new or they didn't understand it. Going forward after that, though, that's not a thing anymore for Gen X, for millennials, for even Gen Z. We grew up with video games when we were young. So when we raise kids, we look at it not as like harmful on its face, even though it can still be harmful overall. So what are your thoughts, Ian?
Well, I'm never having a child. But that said,
we get asked about how to raise children every once in a while, so we're gonna give our answer.
No, I think there's there is something to be said about screen time limits. I don't think that necessarily they need to be incredibly harshly enacted or anything like that. I'm not even certain that there needs to be a specific hour limit put on it. But as a kid, you want to make sure, I think, that the kid is experiencing. It's not so much that I feel like video games are bad. We've talked about how, especially during lockdown, they've been beneficial to kids. Some kids who are not good at socializing, this is their form of socializing. Communicating and talking with people for a lot of people who play video games is a major aspect of what video gaming is now, the social aspect. Getting into a chat room, whether it be, typed out chat or a headset sort of thing. I think there's a lot of benefits that come from kids playing video games. That said, you want kids to be able to experience everything. I think you do need to kind of boot your kids outside every once in a while.
Yeah,
and give them some experience.
I do think there should be screen time limits.
I don't know that there's, and you enact the screen time limits if the kid seems to be overly relying on games. And like I said, it's not necessarily because I think video games are bad. I just think that having a wealth of experiences is important in your developmental years, and if you lean too heavily on video games, you're not going to get those. How would you do it necessarily? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a parent. I don't intend on being a parent. I don't think I would be a good parent. But you've got to make sure the kids are doing different things.
I think you'd be a good parent because you have good parents. That's what I think.
I have great parents, but
I think you'd be a good parent because you model your behavior after them.
Yeah.
How they treat you, that's how you treat your kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
You know how they treated you. I believe in, even though my parents never did it, they should have positive reinforcement. You get rewarded for something for doing something. So do your homework, then you can play Minecraft, or do your homework, then you can play Fortnite.
Sure.
Get the crap out of the way first, and then you can have fun. Versus like, okay, it's after dinner now. You spent 3 hours playing. Before dinner, you still have to do your homework, and it's like 7:30 at night. And as a kid, that happened to me sometimes. I'm not gonna like.
Yeah.
I was bad with that. But actually, no, I went out and played after I got home from school. A lot of times too. You did either. You went out and you played from like 2:30 to like 5. You came home, you had dinner, then you did your homework or whatever. God, I hate homework. I still have nightmares about not doing homework. Did I tell you that right? Everything's school related, my nightmares.
I went through pretty much all of high school without ever doing homework.
I did on the bus ride to my school was like nearly an hour.
Study halls
Yes.
were my thing.
So my thing was
Got it all done in study halls.
I only have study hall. My senior year, last semester, I had a study hall, and it sucked because it was a second to last period. If it was the last period, they gave you permission to sign out and leave if you had a car. You could have basically left early at like 1. But anyway, so no, my homework was done on the bus. Now, not all of it, but like I was always like, yeah, that 1 or 2 things I can get that done on the bus, and that's what I did. It was 50 minutes on the bus. That's a lot of time for homework.
I always wrote papers the night before they were due.
If I really want to get into it, we had the teacher. There was like a teacher break that happened after second period. It was like a 25-minute break. It was weird. It was like at 9:30, 9:45. There was like a 20-minute break. That's time for homework. And guess what? Lunch. Time for homework right after you eat. Sometimes I did it while I was eating. I had horrible study habits until college. But that's getting away from the topic.
I was much better in college. I was very, very bad in high school.
That gets away from the topic. So screen time, I think, is important, though. But that's how I do it. I do positive reinforcement. You know, get your homework done, then you can play. If you don't have your homework done, you can't play. That's it. But hopefully you do it for such an early age that they don't, yell at you. You have to establish that stuff early, where you get your chores done first, get your stuff done. I'd be a fair parent, I think. I understood how I was thick but quick. I was I played a lot of video games. That's the thing too. I would be, because of how badly I was made fun of and how being a fat kid really affected me. That is the one thing I would be really militant about with my children. That's the one thing where I'd be like, you can play video games. You got to exercise. You got to do a sport, or you at least got to try and play with your friends. You got to go to the park. I would definitely do that. It would be multifaceted approach, the best you can, because like I said, as growing up as a kid, even the athletic kids played video games. It wasn't just like, oh, you just did athletic. No,
yeah, take up skateboarding or biking or something. It doesn't even have to be a team sport. I mean,
No.
I understand not loving team sports, but get into something.
yeah. I wouldn't force my kid to do Little League if he didn't like it. I know I loved it. I loved Little League. I loved playing baseball. I loved it as a kid. But no, there's other stuff you can do. Get a hula hoop. Get a I don't know. Get a bop it. Get a play four square in the street like we did with chalk.
Yeah.
And that was great. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Or King's Corner, you call it, or whatever.
Yeah.
King's Corner, was that what it was called? Just spike it in that. Play some good old street tennis with your one. That's all you need.
Street tennis.
Tennis is great. Wiffle ball, whatever. Run around. We play cops and robbers. Oh, it was an innocent time. We used for handcuffs. Remember the jelly ring bracelets? Remember the jelly rings? You can just twist them up. You made handcuffs out of them. You didn't need to go to the little
The five and dime.
the 5 and dime and get the $3 plastic, probably $2 back then, $2 plastic handcuffs that somehow worked with a cheap key. Until you lost the key, and you had to rip them off.
Yeah.
You had to crack them off. Is that reasonable? How much gaming in one day during the school year would be reasonable for a kid? Like you get like 90 minutes,
I don't know. I'd say
like on a Monday.
I'd say if the kid is being fucking responsible and getting their shit done, 2 hours.
2 hours?
If they start to falter, then you got to look at it. But I mean, like I said, I don't.
Get out the Switch?
If video games are what the kid likes, I don't want to punish the kid for finding something they
No.
like. And especially, I said with the increased socialization that happens, it's a healthy way of developing habits. I just want to make sure the kid would be getting their schoolwork done and at least experiencing a variety of things.
Yeah, maybe doing something else, whether it's music, something with science, a sports.
Right.
You gotta do something else. You're not gonna go through your whole life just playing video games. You're not gonna be a well-rounded individual. You're just not.
Dear child, come to me with 2 hobbies. Video games can be one of them, but give me something else that's got you up on your feet.
I do. If I raise a kid, I'd be horrified though with like screen time when it came to phones and tablets and how much.
That's
another conversation.
Unfortunately, that's just something that that affects us now too. That's part of life.
Sure, that's like I can picture kids being glued to like their phone for hours.
They
too.
are.
So that's screen, but every single thing.
Yeah, but I was glued to my computer from the time I got home till the time I went to bed. So I mean, it was the same thing.
Well, you're a bad kid though. And you're a bad seed.
Bad seed.
You're a bad seed playing those roguelikes back then. Yeah, but every phone, every console has parental controls with screen time and some that can tell you exactly what your kid's doing in computers. The same thing. So there's ways around it. So good luck out there, us Gen X and millennial parents. Have fun raising your kids.